Good morning, folks. The last time we were together, we talked about setting up a drafting folder under Files and then getting this piece of graph paper saved to your um, files. What I would ask that you do is go to your folder, click Select, click Plane, and then make a duplicate, and then select your duplicate. I've got a couple of them here, but select one of the duplicates so we can take our notes and talk about orthographic projection. All right. So orthographic projection, we'll start by writing that down here. This might not be a term that you're familiar with. So like any of our new words, we want to try to break this into parts we might know. So if we were to break this into ortho and graphic, that might help us out a little bit. Now, because we're looking at this at the middle school level, some of you guys might have heard of a word that begins with ortho, such as an orthodontist. And that's the person who puts braces on your teeth to straighten them. Okay, so ortho for us means straight, right, or correct. Okay, so if we bring this back into some math terms, you probably heard of all of these in a math class being used before. Correct? That's if you get the right answer. The word right, I'm hoping you guys were coupling with a right angle, okay, a 90-degree angle, all right? And straight, that describes a line, straight line. So thinking about those here in just a second. When it gets to graphic, again, hopefully when we think of the word graphic, we might think of a graphic novel, which is a book that tells a story, but it uses pictures, right? There's lots of pictures that are in a graphic novel. So, and then finally, this our last word, projection, over here. This is taking an object and uh, showing it on another object. So if we think of like the old school movie theaters, they would project an image onto the screen. Starts off as a little itty bitty piece of film that has light shine through it and through some lenses so that it magnifies onto the screen. All right. Where that leads us to is that we're looking for pictures that are at a right angle to each other. Okay, they're going to be straight, they're going to be in line with each other. All right. And this projection piece comes with the thought that the object that we're going to draw, let's say it's this one, okay, we would take that object and we would set it inside of a glass cube. And whatever we would see as we turn our glass cube, that in that face on that pane of glass would be our view. So it would be projecting it from the object onto that piece of glass. So if I were to remove this for right now and slide down here, oops, sorry for that, guys. Slide here a little bit towards the bottom of my page and move this out of my way for now. The first drawing that we would have is going to be our front view. And if we're talking about being projected on that piece of glass, what we'd see is the outline of this object. All right, and that's really what we would draw. Okay, so the first drawing that we have, okay, gets to be our front view. I'm going to start that front view of that block right here. Okay, and really can only go one of two ways. I either move towards the right or I move up. All right. Here is an isometric view of this. So what I'm really doing is just trying to draw this face. All right, there's some dimensions that I have with this plan here, but this is what we are trying to create. All right, so to begin with, starting from my corner here, I'm going to move straight up 2 inches. All right, I can use my ruler tool here to help make sure that my line is straight. Line that up with my graph paper. Now I need to go 2 inches tall. My ruler here is in metric, so that's not going to help me out quite as much. But the graph paper that I downloaded has 1/4 inch squares. So each of these squares should be 1/4 of an inch. Again, that's going to change if I zoom in, but it still represents 1/4 of an inch. All right. So if I start here and start to draw my line up, I'm going to go a grand total of 8 of these little squares high. All right. Perfect. And double check to make sure that's right. Okay. I'm going to turn my ruler and I'm going to draw the bottom line next. According to my plan, this bottom line is going to be 3 inches long. So that means I need to go 12 squares. Okay, so I've got my 3-inch line there. Next, as long as my ruler is turned the way that it is, I'm going to draw this line, which is 1.5 inches, or that's going to be 6 squares for me. Okay. Turn my ruler back so that it's 90 degrees again. I've got a couple lines that I'll draw here. One is going to be this end, and this end piece here happens to be 1 inch, and I know that because of this dimension. The relationship here to this part is that they're the same part. All right, so when we go back to our notes that says these drawings are going to be straight and in line with each other, that means that the bottoms will be in line. This middle shelf here will also be in line, okay, as well as our tops will be in line, okay. So I know that this line is going to be 1 inch tall. And I also know that if this part is 1 inch tall, this also has to be 1 inch tall because my total height is 2. So 2 minus 1 leaves me with 1. Now something else after I get this line drawn, I'll call your attention to is that the ends of those two lines are in line with each other. Again, we see that our line here is flat 0 degrees. These had better be flat and in line with each other also. Okay, and this view is our front view. Okay. All right, the next view we can work on is our right view. So our front view here is thought of as being front and center. And now we have a right view, what would come to the right side of our original object, what we'd be seeing from that right side. So this, in our isometric view, is our front view. what we'd see in our right view is going to be this rectangle and this rectangle. And then we'll have a line here that separates those two from each other because they're two different planes. Okay. As long as my ruler is set up down here, this is where I'll start drawing this, and this line will be 1.5 inches long. So again, 6 boxes. All right. All right, and my height here is going to be a grand total of 2 inches high again, so that'll be 8 boxes. And what I should notice is that the end of this line should be right in line with the top of my front view, okay? If it's not, that means that I'm drawing something incorrectly. And now if I'm drawing this middle line, again, I know that it's 1 inch tall, but I already have that dimension and that line drawn here already. So as long as my ruler is in line with this line on my front view, I can just line up my ruler and draw. Same for this line across the top. Okay, and again, we should be noticing that the top lines up with itself, the middle lines up, and so do the bottoms. All right. Okay, this is our right view. Last view we're going to work on here is our top view. And this is going to be, again, the same distance that I have here, the 1.5 inches, because this distance and this distance are the exact same thing. And the length of this line is going to be 3 inches, which will also be in line with the end of my front view. So if I follow that grid up, we can draw that line across. And I can draw that line across, again, following the same grid line that I did before. And now I can connect those ends. And then line my ruler up here with this line on my front view. And draw in that final line. This is my top view. Again, everything stays right in line with itself. Okay. In the next video, we'll start taking a look at the line types that are here and some other ones that we can put in to show other features. All right. Thanks for watching.